Hello, my cherubims. So, you want to know what the meaning of life is, do you? Be careful what you wish for, as they say. This video will tear you out of the Matrix. This video will tear you out of the Matrix. Are you ready? As Morpheus in, the Matrix did say. Do you want to see how far down this rabbit hole goes? Because I'll show you the bottom. Anyhow, why do I say this? Because I know it. And I'm going to convey it to you in this video. So before I begin, let me say, this video is not for the faint of heart. It is not. I'm not going to tell who is allowed to watch this video and who isn't allowed to watch this video, because this video is a truth that all living things are allowed to know if they want to. It's up to you what you do with the information. And I'm going to leave it with a positive note. Furthermore, there will be a second part to this video explaining what's called the yin and the yang of it. Yes, literally from that symbol. And which I explain what's called polarity. So, as a quick overview, this stuff is not going to be physics oriented. Although I might describe physics terms, pretty blatantly to help me convey it to you. It's not going to be physics, so don't worry about that. And if you want to know the foundational physics kind of esque information for why this is a truth of why existence is existence, or what the meaning of life is, or why are you here, answering that question, those questions all together, all that information can be found back in Occulted Lecture 1. I kind of roughly explained through Occulted, and specifically in my What is God video, what I'm going to explain to you now, which is, what is the meaning of life here. Except when I did it in the What is God video, I kind of did it haphazardly. And let's just put it this way. Over the past few weeks, I do talk with a lot of people in my community. And a lot of times, given, the UFO information I talk about all the time, I end up telling people what the meaning of life is and the truth of reality that I'm about to tell you. And every single person I've told, whether I've told a tarot reader this, whether I've told, a random person that appreciates my work this, or if I've told a close friend of mine this kind of makes them go into a slight existential crisis for a day or two. So, that's not uncommon. If you are a person that, struggles with mental health issues, maybe don't watch this. Or maybe watch this. Again, I can't tell you to watch this or not to watch this. Because this is a truth of reality. It is. And once you come to terms with it, I believe that it's the most liberating thing that you could ever know. So if anything, it should cure a lot of depressed stuff. I had severe depression in my lifetime here. Trust me, I did. And I still, can struggle with it from time to time. It's a state of consciousness, of awareness. I largely don't anymore. And the first event that was facilitated to me that really woke me up, i.e. yanked me out of this matrix, because this video is going to yank you out of the fucking matrix if you're ready for it, was knowing this truth. So, let's begin. Careful what you wish for. So, given our universe, okay? For example, our universe is composed of infinity. It is infinity. Don't believe me? Go outside at night, look up. It's as far as the eye can see. Even though it might not be physically infinite, it can expand into infinity, because that's why it's expanding and accelerating. Speeding up its expansion. Science, but leaving that aside, what does that really mean? You know how we have light bulbs, light bulbs, like these are ring lights, but you see These things operate in what's called the electromagnetic field. Okay, that would be, you know, there's a lot of fields that make up our universe. The electromagnetic field is just one, and it's responsible for lights. Now we can also describe a field that describes physical matter, okay? And we can also describe a field in our universe that describes your self-awareness. That field of self-awareness is actually the center of all fields, okay? So, this truth not only will yank you out of the matrix, it should also convey to you that both science, all religions, all spiritualities, technically are trying to say the same thing with a different set of words, using different dictionaries, using different stories of our creation. I'm not saying one's better than the other. I'm just saying that there is a single truth that they all have in common. And that is what is called the universal truth. Some people would call this, in ancient times, there was a one universal religion. What they mean by that is there's just one universal truth. Okay, a religion is taking this truth, making a story of it, and then teaching people how to live their lives based off of it. I'm not trying to create a religion. I'm not trying to tell you to, you know, leave yours. Do whatever fulfills you, as long as I believe you're not hurting people. But we'll get to that at the end of this, and especially in the yang of it video. Because I've said that expression quite a lot. I don't want to get into the yin and the yang of it, and most people don't understand what I mean by that. So that's why it's going to be a separate video. So given that, you know, the fact that you're aware is the base layer of reality, like I said back in the What is God video. Can you have a universe, any universe, a reality, without awareness in it? This is a quick proof for why awareness is the center of this universe. Well, you can have a universe without awareness in it, but it would be doing nothing. You need awareness to have something. Because if there was no awareness, even if in a manifested universe, it would just be doing nothing. There's no awareness in it. The fact that you're self-aware, you can observe that you're self-aware, means that the universe itself is self-aware. This is an inductive proof in mathematics, but we're not going to, you know, speak in that terms. We're going to speak in plain English. So, just as we have all these fields, the conscious field is the center of it, right? The universe is infinite, right? Yes, it is. There's one universe. There's no multiverse shit, okay? There's one universe. And from that, all existence subsists. Now, there might be different things people might consider a multiverse out of that, but there's one singularity, one universe, okay? One center, that is the center of awareness. And you can then ask the question, okay, if this is infinite, you know, how is this infinite? Well, you can consider, you can perceive, you can become aware of what infinity is. You can think of this concept. Infinity is something that is unending. The fact that you can conceive that thought, the fact that you can think about something that never ends, see, we just thought of it, I just said it. The fact that we can think that proves that the universe is that. Because the universe is thought. It is. So, because of that, how did we get here? What's the meaning of life? If the universe is thought, and, you know, even physical matter is manifested thought, how did we get here and what's the meaning of life? Well, this is the part that's going to yank you out of the matrix, as they say. And it'll show you what the matrix is, because it's not what you think it is. It's not a bunch of machines. We'll talk about that. We'll make another video talking about the matrix anyway. So, when you are that thing, how did the universe get here? Why do we exist? Well, before all of existence as all the holy books said, you know, God created, you know, some gods created, or the Big Bang happened, or, you know, because scientific dogma in your current academia is technically just another religion by definition. But anyhow, all of these things might have different stories of explaining how we got here, but there's one truth. Before everything, there was a singularity. One singularity that was existing in a superposition. This is an infinite object. In all thing equals no thing. In occulted, we call this the 0 equals 1 singularity, because this is how you would describe this in mathematical notation. At this point, this nothing is everything point, you can ask the question, what is this thing doing, this singularity, before the universe existed? Well, it only has two options, because it's a singularity. Nothing exists except this only thing, and this only thing is an infinite thing. It's an infinite object. Okay? That is kind of a mindfuck to get your head around, I understand. But let's just think of this thing, this infinite singularity, as a form of infinity. And remember, we can think of that as something that's unending. Okay, so this form of infinity has consciousness to it. It's aware, because that's what the center is. It's awareness. Because this singularity, this thing, the center thing, the background of this diagram, why the background is the background, because it permeates all these layers in that diagram. It means it's within all the layers, because it's the center. Consciousness is. And because consciousness is the center of our universe, of all these fields, of why everything's manifest, that means that before everything manifested, there was only two options, because it's a singularity, and before you get the first step out of a singularity is polarity. Two things. This is the yin and the yang of it, which I will explain in the follow-up video after this one. But before everything, you started at a singularity. Everything is nothing. And then from that, the first step was polarity. So, what does that mean? For you, me, the meaning of life, why are we here? Because we're going from a single thing to two things to, and then eventually everything. We have to count up. Just as mathematics is. Mathematics is the physics of your thought, because it's literally derived thought. Because the universe is thought. So, what does that mean for you? It means before the universe existed, we had one option, because we're a singularity. Do nothing or do everything. Now, like I've said before, doing nothing is really boring. Really boring. An infinite conscious singularity being, which, you know, this thing before the universe existed, this would be my consciousness, your consciousness, the consciousness of your parents, the consciousness of an extraterrestrial intelligence somewhere else, the consciousness of the air molecules, the consciousness of the matter that is making up all of this. This all was a singularity beforehand. And when we are that, you, me, it, is that, well, that's really boring, because we're just doing nothing. So the only other option is to do everything. Do nothing, do everything. That's the first step out of singularity. Well, doing nothing, we can do that for eternity, and it gets really boring eventually, because we're all self-aware. You know what the feeling of being bored is, don't you? So, we chose to do everything. You, me, some extraterrestrial somewhere else, the air molecules around you, the water, the oceans, this planet, every star system, every galaxy, every intelligent being, even ones that you wouldn't consider intelligent, like a rock on this planet. manifested out of nothing because we chose to. Collectively, back when our consciousness was a singularity. This is what people would call God or Chi or Prana or Source, like the spiritualist, scientific community would do. This is what that is. It's the root of everything. The thing before the Big Bang. The Big Bang was choosing to separate. And by doing so, creating this polarity, we all gave ourselves free will. Because we were no longer a single being. We chose to be infinitely many beings. We chose this option, and we left this option as the null space. The space that this infinity can expand out into. It's why the universe physically is accelerating. These are things I explained back in Occulted. If you want to know more of the deep dive of physics, you can go back and check Occulted Lecture 1, New Physics, Set Theory and Reality. Occulted maybe Lecture 2, Why Astrology Isn't Bullshit, because that gets into more of the, astrological and empathetic meaning for all this, and especially the bimodal bifurcation diagram video, because that explains the topological mathematics of how the universe exists, how it's made, how this physical reality that you live in is made. An overview and a recap, and then answering what's the meaning of life. We were a singularity of consciousness, and doing nothing is really boring, so we chose to do everything. So we had to split and create infinity out of it. And to do so, we did this for fun. What's the meaning of life? We did it for fun. And why is this a truth? Well, there are infinitely many truths for why reality is reality. If you don't like this one, then take it with a grain of salt. But this is the best one that I've known in all of my existence in this reality, because this truth accounts for the negative side and the positive side, the doing nothing and the doing everything. Any real truth has to account for all possibilities, and this one does. So, doing nothing is really boring, so we chose to do everything. This kind of gets in the yin and yang of it, the yin and the yang of it for the next video, but we'll keep it light. We chose to do everything. And because of that, we wanted to forget who we were. All of us were. Every existence in this universe. Why did we do that? Because we did it for fun. Remember, doing nothing is really boring. Doing everything is better than boring, but it's even better if you have a secret. It's even better if you have a mystery to it. Because once you know this truth, that we were all the same entity at the beginning of this universe before we split into infinite consciousness, then it kind of takes the mystery out of it. It kind of takes the fun away. You realize that there is no such thing as death. Even if your physical body on this planet stops living, your consciousness still exists. It'll just go somewhere else in the infinity that it chooses, that it's guided to. So, that's why I said this video is not for the faint of heart at the beginning. Because once you understand this, it'll change your whole outlook on life. Now, back to the yin and the yang of it, a quick brief on that. I understand that once you realize this, that you can look at this in two ways, because again, we have to have a yes and a no. We have to have a positive and negative logic. That's the first step in manifesting all of this. So the positive side is, this is so liberating. I can literally make my life out to whatever it be. I'm just limited by time and what I can get my hands on. But everything can be accomplished with time and knowledge and cooperation. Yes, this is true. Everything can be accomplished. Think of the most wildest idea out of your science fiction, and that even pales in comparison to what's actually physically possible to do in this reality. Just might take time to teach yourself or build a thing to help you do it, or, etc. The vice versa is true. What's the point? why live? This is the dark side of the positive and negative. And I've explained this back in the bimodal bifurcation diagram at the end. You know, this might be a horrible thing. The reason I drew that diagram is because this is a diagram of the universe, the 0-point particle, and your consciousness, your nodal consciousness, that diagram. This might be a horrible thing, but because we all have free will, we do. You have the free will to point your consciousness into a certain direction. This can either be the most liberating thing that you'll ever know, because it means that you can make your life into anything, technically. Or it can be the most depressing thing you ever know, if you focus on that. If you focus on that, we are all the same consciousness. That we did all of this for fun. All the bad, all the good, they have to exist together. Then you'll spend your life living out in misery. I do what I do here on YouTube, on this planet, because I believe that if you point your consciousness in the positive direction, the direction of manifesting heaven on earth, you'll get exactly that. Heaven and hell aren't literal places like the holy books might lead you to believe. They exist everywhere and they exist nowhere at the same time. What they are created. You can create your own hell on this earth, and you can create your own heaven. Now, because of the yin and the yang of it, no matter what you do, there will be some of the one side and the other. You know, that's why there's those two little dots. No matter what you do, there will be some of one side and the other side. But the point is, why I drew that diagram and why I said it can flip back and forth is because largely your life is dependent on where you focus your mind. If you focus your mind on negative things, your life will become a negative nightmare. If you focus your mind on positive things, having gratitude, your life will become very abundant and joyful. So, what's the meaning of life? Recap. We're here because it's less boring. Now, it just so happens that some people on this planet 100 years ago were pretty psychopathic. Because again, the end and the yang of it, there are going to be people that, you know, are what religions would classify as saints. And there's going to be people that religions would classify as demons. And no, looks don't dictate how one acts, no matter who they are. That's why some priests are pedophiles. That's why I look like a demon, but I'm here trying to liberate the planet out of oil wage slavery. Never judge a book by its cover. That is a good lesson. And furthermore, those people 100 years ago, because the yin and the yang of it, they chose to seclude all the wealth to themselves and utilize the rest of you as wage slave labor. It's time to end that. And the way you end it is by yanking yourself out of their matrix, the matrix they created. You have to work in a traditional job to pay these bills, to make sure you have oil and non-renewable energy sources. So, there will be people that, you know, you classify as saints. It just so happens that this planet has people running it that don't give a fuck about what they do to the rest of you. I came here to try to wake all of you up so you can take the power back for yourself. And this does not involve killing them or anyone else. Why do I say that? Because you're just going to be cascading more problems. The real awakening, ripping yourself out of this matrix, is that this matrix was created because they want you to believe that giving your power over to the system of control in our daily lives makes it better. But really, you're devoting most of your time to these individuals. Now, there are systems that we can make on this planet that, you know, where we can co-mutually work together to improve all of our lives together. But the system we currently live in is not that. I'm here to show you what it is. Why did I do this? Bonus answers for all you that stayed this long in the video is because for me, like I said, the yin and the yang of it, for me, what's not boring is not only doing all the things I do, which is like, you know, try to have fun, because we all should try to have fun, you know, life is too short not to, okay? But not to, like, you know, have fun, do my day jobs, you know, make music, make YouTube videos, do sex work, but also helping this planet for me is part of my life path. So, if you liked the video, please share it. The more of you, civilians on this planet, and myself included, because I'm a civilian on this planet just like you, the more of us that come to terms with this information faster, the faster it changes for the better. The faster you guys become classified as a peaceful interstellar planet that have all your basic needs met. You don't have to work traditional jobs, your lives change. I did not say this would be easy, but it starts with taking power over your life. Like I said back in that diagram, it depends on where you point your consciousness. The more you give power away to another individual over you in some hierarchy of control, the more you are alleviating that power from yourself. Now, it doesn't mean we shouldn't have hierarchies of control. They can certainly help in developments of societies and planets and etc, etc, etc. But, you know, the one that we have doesn't actually benefit us and humans on this planet. And I think anyone that's awoken, either in this video or in prior videos, would understand that no, it's not the case. Oil and banking has been keeping you stuck here. So, you know, that can be depressing, but it's also very liberating, because once you know it, the truth will set you free, as Greer said, but first it will piss you off. So, that's why I said this video isn't for the faint of heart, but it's also something that all living things on this planet should know and become aware of, because I hope it set you free. I do. It should have set you free. Now, you might have walking away from this video, you know, I recommend turning off your phone or computer, whatever you use to watch this on, go outside, go sit down or walk barefoot outside, and just spend a few minutes breathing and observing the beauty of the planet around you. And then dare to dream as big as you want to for what it can be. And then once you're done thinking about that for a few minutes, realize that the only thing stopping you in between yourself making changes in your life and the lives of others and all that stuff is your thoughts. So, it takes effort and constant work to keep them positive, but hell, if I can do it, I'm a suicide survivor on here. I know that everyone else can. So, namaste again. Namaste. I'll catch you guys in the next video where I start going into explaining what is called the yin and the yang of it. I kind of touched on it here in the video, but we'll get to more of the implications to your guys' planet in the next one. So, if you are excited for that, maybe subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you then. Bye. Oh, and stay positive. It's a positive future. You have to, you know, it might be darkest before the dawn, but again, the only thing you can do is the only thing you ever could do, which is do what you can do and don't worry about the things that you can't do. So focus on what you can do, because you can actually do a lot.